Residents can return to their one-for-court units more than once. Convener of the Executive Council, Regina Ip, speaks to TVB News on the volatile energy prices. And Iran says the Strait of Hormuz has been blocked again. Good evening. Welcome to TVB News. Residents of the 7 affected buildings in the one-for-court fire are permitted to return to their apartments in batches to collect their belongings on Monday. Deputy Chief Secretary for Administration Warner Chuk said residents will be allowed to enter the structures more than once. Timothy Lee reports.
More than 5 months have passed since the one-for-court fire, with residents of the 7 affected buildings finally allowed to return to their homes on Monday to collect their belongings. The first to be allowed to make their way back home are residents of Wangsun House. Prior to their entry, residents must first confirm their identities at registration centers located at the Kwanfu Community Hall. The government previously announced that a maximum of 4 people per household could enter and exit the structures at the same time. Excluding the time going up and down the stairs, they could stay for a maximum of 3 hours. Deputy Chief Secretary for Administration Warner Chuk said on the day before the permitted visits that after further assessment, residents will be allowed to go up more than once. But he stressed authorities will be flexible in dealing with residents on site, adding that residents will be accompanied by the police or members of the civil aid service during their visits. Some local district councillors noted that many of the affected residents are satisfied with the current arrangement. Taipo District Councillor Mui Siu Feng said the community's main concerns include bringing larger bags or suitcases to collect essential items such as certificates or belongings of deceased relatives. Meanwhile, the nearby Taipo Baptist Public School will be used as a designated rest area where residents could temporarily store their belongings. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
Convener of the Executive Council, Regina Ip, said the government should plan medium and long-term strategies to tackle volatile fuel prices amid the ongoing Middle East crisis. Mimosang Ai reports.
Crude oil prices remain fluctuating as uncertainties in the Middle East continue. In early April, the government announced 4 short-term measures to address rising fuel prices, including subsidizing $3 for every litre of diesel for 2 months to reduce the operating costs of public and commercial vehicles. Speaking on a TVB program, convener of the Executive Council, Regina Ip, said the subsidy program might be insufficient at this stage and that the government should outline medium and long-term strategies. Asked if authorities needed to introduce a cap on fuel prices to tackle the expensive non-renewable energy, which has always been the case in Hong Kong, the top government advisor said a more comprehensive review will be required.
We don't have crude oil production and we don't have refineries. We buy from the international market, and the price is linked to an international pricing mechanism, which we cannot interfere with. If we put a cap on the price they charge, I think the government will have to subsidize. I think the government should look at how other governments are responding. Some have removed their duties. Some have put a cap. Some have increased subsidies.
Separately, the government said the heads under the department accountability system will exclude permanent secretaries who handle policy formulation, legislation planning, personnel management and resource allocation because they were not defined as department heads. Ip said a permanent secretary will be held accountable differently.
They work very closely with bureau directors. They are accountable to the bureau director. If they don't perform well, they would have been transferred out or given very poor ratings. So a different system should apply to them.
As to what the government should do to reinforce the public's confidence in civil servants after the Taipo fire, in light of evidence suggested at public hearings that government departments might have shirked responsibility, Ip said she's certain that every involved person will be dealt separately. Mimosang Ai, TVB News.
Frederick Ma, the chairman of the Hong Kong Trade Development Council, said the Middle East conflicts could create new opportunities for the city and the mainland. Mimosa again.
On a radio program, Frederick Ma, chairman of the Hong Kong Trade Development Council, or TDC, said that a volatile Middle East situation could bring opportunities to the city.
Many investors are now looking to Hong Kong, being ranked the third international financial center. And so I see a lot of opportunity for Hong Kong to cement our position.
Ma said while the conflicts had created uncertainties in the region and reduced the investment means for overseas business, he pointed out that more foreign leaders have visited President Xi Jinping recently. Ma said that the Middle East uncertainty will push people to invest in China, where certainty lies. In 2025, Hong Kong ranked as the world's fifth largest trading entity in mercantile trade, 2 places up from the previous year. The TDC chairman said the ranking suggested that Hong Kong had benefited from the U.S. tariff. Separately, the TDC has launched a program, Go Global Connect, aiming to assist mainland enterprises by utilizing resources at the Council's 51 offices across the world. Ma said the TDC was flexible in carrying out the program, citing that he had asked colleagues to allocate more resources to Latin American offices because fewer investments have been made in the U.S. By helping mainland companies enter the international market, Ma said it presents Hong Kong's role as a super connector and a super value adder. Mimosa 9, TVB News.
As Iran announced the resumption of strict control over the Strait of Hormuz, it says progress has been made in negotiations with Washington, but obstacles still remain in finalizing a framework agreement. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps confirmed the Strait of Hormuz has been blocked since Saturday evening local time. In a statement carried by its official news outlet Sepah News, the Guards accused the U.S. of breaching its commitments under the ceasefire and failing to end naval blockade against Iranian vessels and ports. They warned no vessel should move from its anchorage in the Persian Gulf or the Gulf of Oman, and any approach to the strait would be targeted accordingly. The UK Maritime Trade Operations Centre said it received multiple reports of ships that came under Iranian fire in nearby waters, including an oil tanker attacked by IRGC gunboats and a container ship that was shot by an unknown object. The Foreign Ministry in Tehran stated on Sunday that unconditional transit passage through the Strait of Hormuz became history the moment the US-Israeli aggression brought military forces into its vicinity. Speaking to reporters on the margins of the Antalya Diplomacy Forum in Turkey, Iranian Deputy Foreign Minister indicated Iran is not ready for face-to-face meetings with the United States because the Americans have not abandoned their maximalist position.
We were so close, but there were some differences over important issues, which United States actually decided not to abandon its maximalist position. So that was the reason that we decided to first finalize this framework and then move on to in-person meetings, I can say.
The diplomat also said no date has been set for the next round of peace talks until they agree on the framework, and rejected US President Donald Trump's claims that Iran would hand over its enriched uranium to Washington. This, as President of Iran, Masoud Pezeshkian, noted, the US has no justification to deprive its country of its legal nuclear rights. Iranian media quoted Pezeshkian as saying the US had not explained what crime Iran had committed. Sources say the renewed Hormuz crisis erupted after the parties made progress in narrowing the gaps about Iran's uranium enrichment technology and stockpile of enriched uranium. Meanwhile, Trump told reporters in the Oval Office that Iran got a little cute for wanting to close up the strait again and added the country cannot blackmail the US. Hezbollah's leader Naim Qassem said the ceasefire with Israel must mean a complete halt to aggression, warning the group will retaliate against Israeli violations in southern Lebanon. Tracy Furness reports.
This is residents of a neighborhood in Beirut's southern suburbs began cautiously returning to their homes after the 10-day ceasefire in Lebanon and Israel was announced. Haymadi neighborhood had suffered severe damage from Israeli airstrikes during the war, which erupted early last month. Debris filled the streets, blocking a main road, as residents carried a few bags of belongings. This resident said, "I came to my house this morning, but I am waiting for the electricity to come back because my home is on the 9th floor. We will arrange things and God willing, we will return." Meanwhile, a United Nations peacekeeping force in southern Lebanon came under attack with small arms fire Saturday morning, leaving one French peacekeeper dead and 3 wounded, 2 of them seriously.
A United Nations peacekeeper was killed in southern Lebanon in an attack that has raised fresh tensions on the ground. French President Emmanuel Macron said a French soldier with the UN was killed and 3 others were wounded, adding that everything suggests that the responsibility for this attack lies with Hezbollah. In a statement, the Lebanese militant group has denied responsibility for the attack and expressed its surprise at the accusations.
Tracy Furness, TVB News.
And still ahead. Robots achieve top speed in Beijing Marathon. Happy fans enjoyed the final day of the Hong Kong 7th. And Pope Leo continues his tour of Africa. Welcome back. The 2026 Beijing Yizhuang Half Marathon held today saw humanoid robots running on a racetrack that stretched about 21 kilometers. The winning time was faster than that of humans for a similar distance. The all-robot competition took place Sunday morning in Beijing's Yizhuang district. The robots took turns to start, each 30 seconds apart. Their average running speed reached 28 kilometers per hour. This year's humanoid robot half marathon drew over 100 teams and more than 300 robots, including teams from Hong Kong. The contest wasn't without hiccups. The remote-controlled robot Lightning, developed by Chinese smartphone maker Honor, crashed into the divider board beside the track about 50 meters before the finish line and fell to the ground. It continued running after being helped up by staff, crossing the finish line in 48 minutes and 19 seconds. Lightning technically finished first, but his ultimate time was adjusted to 57 minutes under the event's weighted scoring rules. Another autonomously navigated robot by Honor named Shandian won the race with a time of 50 minutes, 26 seconds. Du Xiaodi, Honor's test development engineer, said the robot design was modeled on outstanding human athletes with long legs of about 95 centimeters, and it also features a powerful liquid cooling system. The Hong Kong Sevens held its final day of competition. The Hong Kong men's team successfully defended their title in the Melrose Claymores. Rachel Un has more.
At the south stand of Kai Tak Sports Park, fan excitement continued to run high. Over the 3 days of the tournament, the roof was only opened under clear skies for the first time on the final day, and the sunshine helped further elevate the atmosphere.
We're going for Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones.
It's so good. There's so many people. It's so fun. Everyone's having a great time.
A lot nicer. Yesterday it felt like it was 6 o'clock all day.
Fans danced and waved energetically to the powerful music. The second floor viewing area reached full capacity, prompting the sports park to implement crowd control measures. While supporting their favorite teams, fans also put great efforts into creative costumes. Dressed as Wally among the crowd, can you spot him at a glance? Superheroes from 2 different camps were on the same side today.
New Zealand! Blackburn! We wanted a big group of people, and this is easy for a lot of people.
The Hong Kong men's team faced Japan in the Melrose Claymore final and successfully defended their title, winning 19-15 for a 3rd consecutive championship.
Shocked! Very shocked about this. They've improved so much. They've improved by skill, quality, and everything else. Oh, the match was very intense, but I knew Hong Kong would win. Why? Because Hong Kong's the best! I was scared that Japan was going to win, but then Hong Kong took back the lead. Gotten way better. Strength in running and passing.
The awards were presented by Financial Secretary Paul Chan.
From the Hong Kong Football Club Stadium to the Hong Kong
Stadium and now to the 50,000-seat Kai-Ta main stadium, the Hong Kong Sevens has reached its 50th year, gathering more and more supporters along the way. Rachel on TVB News.
Financial Secretary Paul Chan announced the latest batch of key enterprises to be introduced in the city will be announced tomorrow. They include companies with market capitalization of $100 billion. Timothy Lee has more.
More good news from Hong Kong's push for attracting talent to the city. Noting in his blog post, Financial Secretary Paul Chan said the sixth batch of key enterprises set to be introduced in the city will be announced on Monday, with a number of them having a market capitalization of $100 billion. The enterprises cover artificial intelligence, low-altitude economy, new energy, and cross-border financial infrastructure. Among them, the life science and health technology enterprise, a global leader in its field, will conduct clinical research in Hong Kong. This, as the FS believes, the move will strengthen the city's position in international medical research and development. To date, over 100 key enterprises have been successfully introduced from the mainland, Europe, and the U.S., with cumulative actual investment in the city reaching $22.5 billion, exceeding expectations by over 30% and creating over 8,000 jobs. Currently, more than half of the key enterprises have been listed, while another 16 are preparing for listing. Approximately 9% have established or are establishing R&D centers, and 3/4 of them have set up global or regional headquarters in Hong Kong. As of last month, the commercial and industrial floor space used by such enterprises increased by 40% year-on-year to 2.6 million square feet, with expansion set to continue. Meanwhile, the FS said the city will actively link up with the nation's 15th five-year plan and will step up efforts to further integrate itself into the nation's overall development. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
Overseas again, the veteran leader of the centre-right GRB party in Bulgaria, Boyko Borisov, voted in the country's election on Sunday. The election could bring to power a left-leaning ex-president just days after Hungarian voters rejected the authoritarian policies and far-right movement of Viktor Orban in Hungary. Rumen Radev's new coalition is seen as favoured to win most of the votes, with some voters hoping that this could put an end to the country's oligarchic corruption, while others are lining up behind Radev's Eurosceptic and pro-Russian views. Pope Leo XIV sought to downplay his feud with US President Donald Trump. The pontiff said comments he made earlier in Cameroon decrying that the world has been ravaged by a handful of tyrants were not aimed at Trump. Meanwhile, Pope Leo arrived in Angola on Saturday with a message of encouragement for its long-suffering people. Tracy Furness reports.
Pope Leo was greeted on his arrival in Angola's capital, Luanda, by two young girls presenting him with gifts and flowers.
Welcome, Your Holiness.
Followed by Angolan President João Lourenço, shaking the Pope's hand, then walking down a red carpet together. Next, they stood for an honour guard. Lourenço and the Pope held talks before heading to the presidential palace on the Pope-mobile, the Pope waving to waiting crowds, many running alongside him. Many young people waited outside for him. Jose Lemos, a Catholic faithful, said the priest's arrival brought a sign of happiness to all Angolans. Also waiting outside the palace as the Pope arrived was President Lourenço and Ana Diaz Lourenço. Inside the palace, the Angolan president welcomed Pope Leo in front of an audience of government officials and diplomats.
Distintos membros da delegação. Para mim, motivo de grande alegria.
Then Pope Leo spoke, saying he was honoured to be in the country, offering assurance of his prayers for the victims of the heavy rains and floods that struck the province of Benguela, and expressed his closeness to the families who lost their homes. He also referred repeatedly to Angola's tortured history of colonial plunder of the oil and mineral-rich country and its civil war. He also clarified during his visit to Angola that his speech earlier this week criticising tyrants for spending billions on wars was not to do with US President Donald Trump. Angola's population of around 38 million gained independence from Portugal in 1975, but still bears the scars of a devastating civil war that began straight after independence, raging on for 27 years before ending in 2002. The Pope led a mass on Sunday in the Angolan city of Calamba. Leo's visit to Angola marked the third leg of his four-nation African trip. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
Legendary Italian tenor Andrea Bocelli celebrated the 30th anniversary of his Romanza album with a free concert in Mexico City. The musical gala was held at the Zócalo, the main square of the Mexican capital. The tenor's performance captivated the local community, accompanied by a symphony of ballet dancers, classical musicians and opera singers, with many hailing the event for being free of charge. The event also featured Mexican musicians such as the band Los Angeles Azules and singer Jimena Sariñana. Hundreds of participants from all over the world took part in the mega kite event in the north of France. The stunning skyscape featured a wide variety of kites ranging from colorful animals to popular animated characters. The 39th International Kite Festival kicked off in the northern French town of Berck-sur-Mer and is set to last until the 26th of this month. Participants will also be able to watch the World Kite Club, where 11 teams from across the world will compete. In 2022, the event set a record with some 800,000 visitors. And that's the news. Thank you for watching.